Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Friday Night Live. I'm your host, Kat Carter. And if you tuned in right now, you're at the right place at the right time. Friday Night Live is a positive platform where we strive to inform, innovate, and inspire. Want to send a special shout out to all of my Facebook and YouTube viewers tonight. I want to thank you so much for taking time out to hang out with us tonight. We're going to have a really good time. Our encouragement corner tonight reads, when any of us gets to the point where we feel as if there is no hope and we don't know what direction to take or what's going to work, it's words like let go and let God that will pop up as if they were sent by God to get us through. Letting go of a troubling thought about what could or might happen can be a challenge. Perhaps I am giving so much attention to the problem that I cannot possibly see that there is a solution. However, there is a way to turn from fear and anxiety to faith and peace of mind. I turn from thinking about the trouble to thinking about God. And what I do after I release a problem is critical to my not taking it back or creating a bigger one. I give it to God for a solution. I open my mind and my life to divine solutions, knowing that they come about through the love, order, and peace of God that is available to me always. This is taken from the Daily Word, 365 days of love, inspiration, and guidance. Well, I tell you what, we have an awesome lineup tonight. We do. I have some awesome guests. I am just so excited. I can hardly wait. I have the sensational saxophonist Cameron Ross in the house. And I also have business owner Charlene Blair in the house with NEMAs. And you're going to find out what NEMAs mean a little bit later on in the show. So I don't want to prolong the time. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our artist of the week, Cameron Ross. He is a music educator, a motivational speaker, a music clinician. He has performed and served the stage with several artists, which include Kirk Whalen, Jay Moss, Ty Tribbett, Ben Taker, and many more. He has also performed the national anthem twice for the Memphis Grizzlies, and he has also performed on TBN and also the Bobby Jones Gospel Show. Please welcome to Friday Night Live, saxophonist Cameron Ross.
Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure to be here. I'm going to get right on into it. This first song is called Jump.
Oh my goodness. Woo! I know exactly what the name of that song is. I know. Me. That was Jump, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I know. Awesome. How are you tonight, Cameron? I am so happy to talk with you again.
I am well. How are you, Kathy?
Doing
Great to see
well.
you
A
again.
lot of people don't know that you were one of the artists that chimed in on my birthday celebration, the quarantine birthday
Exactly. Right.
celebration, and
Right.
did a
Right.
birthday party,
Right.
a birthday party special for me. Okay, so who were your first influencers in the area of music?
Well, I come from a long line of musicians and singers. So my mother was a singer. My father, he dabbled on some instruments and stuff. I still can remember him playing a harmonica all the time. My family, I grew up in church and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
every Sunday, every Wednesday, it was a concert. So I
Oh,
grew up, just listening to just people at my church play and relatives and everything. And I was like, that's what I want to be at some point. And
right.
just because I as far as jazz and anything, I really didn't even know of any artists because I really
Mm-hmm.
wasn't exposed to it. So the only music that I really was exposed to was either gospel or blues. So a lot of my playing, has like a strong blues influence and everything. And I think, and actually, how I actually started playing the saxophone. So this is what happened. Um, I got in band in the 6th grade,
Okay.
and my goal was to play the drums. I get my grandmother switches and beat up on her couch and mess it up and get a whooping with with those switches again. But the way that my teacher did beginning band, she would let people who wanted to play drums, they started the second semester on it. So you had to pick another instrument. So I said, well, okay, I'll do this saxophone thing, until Christmas comes. So Christmas comes, they give us this paper to take home to switch instruments. So, I said, okay, I'm going to get my mom to sign it because, you give your dad or something, it's going to take forever. He going to say no. So, um, I'm like, mama, it's time for me to play drums. I'm ready to switch over and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like in the bathroom getting ready for work or something like that. So I can't do it right now. Go ask your daddy. I was like, oh no. So I'm knocking on the door. He sleep because he working the night shift. That was like
Oh,
a given thing. You don't interrupt daddy when he sleep.
that's one
So
thing
I'm
you
knocking
definitely
slap.
do.
I already know how this gonna go. So I'm knocking. I'm like, Daddy, he ain't move. I creaked the door open, which I shouldn't have done. Daddy, he ain't say nothing. So I moved over to the bed. Hey, Daddy, and he does it. I'm like, oh no. So I make my way out of his room and everything. And my mama, she walking out of the bathroom. She walks out of the bathroom. Good Morning America is on.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, Kenny G is on there playing something. And she's like, that's it right there. That's the instrument I want you to play right there. And that was pretty much how I got put on the saxophone and everything.
Oh
So,
my
I just
goodness.
it was by chance that Kenny G was on that day. So, from then, I would listen to Kenny G and everything because that's really the only person that people talked about was Kenny
Right,
G. So,
right.
um, and then I remember I got to not high school, but to college,
Mhm.
and my saxophone Professor Ken Hatch, he might be looking at this now, and he's like, so who do you listen to? Well, I was in high school, I was taking lessons from him, and he
Mhm.
like, who do you listen to? And I'm like, Kenny G. And he just gave me this blank look, and so he kind of pointed me into some directions that other people to listen to, so that's really how my horizons and stuff kind of broadened musically wise and everything. So I know I answered about 6 questions with one.
You did, but that's okay. No, you answered my first 4. But you know what? When I was growing up, I think everybody really liked Kenny G. I think I have a couple of his albums or CDs back in the day. I mean, he was like a really very famous saxophonist back then.
Right.
And I'm not sure if he makes new stuff. He probably does, but I know a lot of people. I
He
love
does.
Kenny
He
G.
does.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been playing the saxophone since you say 6th grade. So I'm trying to figure out how many years
6th
that's been.
grade. That puts me at let me see. Let me see. 8,
It's a long
32
time.
years now.
32
32
years.
years now. Yeah. 32
Well,
years.
I tell you,
Yes.
Cameron, I've known you for a while. I followed your work for a while, especially when I was doing some studies. I found you when I was doing some study in Little Rock, Arkansas. I went back to my alma mater to do some classes, and that's when I found you back in 2012. But when I started doing the research for you to interview you, I had no idea that you had been on TBN and that you had been on the Bobby Jones Gospel Show, and you really been around. I mean, quite a bit. And then to play the national anthem at the Memphis Grizzlies, that's an awesome opportunity. I mean, I had no idea how long you have been playing and some of the awesome accomplishments that you have had with that saxophones. That's really awesome. I learned so much about you. So do you currently play virtual concerts sometimes on Facebook, don't you? I thought I've seen you maybe
Yes, I
once or
do.
twice.
Yes, I've done a few. I've done a few. I'm probably going to do one sometime soon. I actually just started grad school, and so
Congratulations.
thank you. I just started at University of Memphis and for a degree in master's in music education.
Okay.
So I'm in front of this screen, reading and doing assignments and everything. So
Okay.
that's kind of took away a lot of my time as far as playing wise.
Okay. So, are you on virtually specific days, or just you don't do it like every week, or is it like once a month, or do you?
Well,
How
it's
do you?
it's like it's no particular time. I'll usually put like on my social media pages. I'll
Like
put
when
out
it's
a
coming?
flyer. Mm,
Okay.
yes, usually like a week or so in advance.
Okay. Well, tell me about some new projects you got going on.
Okay. As far as new projects, right now, like my first project that I did, it was called New Perspective. I did that entirely with one producer, and the second one that I just did, I think I used maybe 3. And
Okay.
this coming up is probably going to be probably about 5 or 6, but it's going to be just I'm not going to say that it's jazz. I'm not going to say that it's gospel. It's just good uplifting music. Just good
Hmm.
clean whole um full music.
One thing I like about you is that your range of music that you can do. You do smooth jazz, you do straight ahead jazz, soul, and gospel. You can pretty much do a little. You can dab in a little bit of all of it. You're well rounded in all of that. I think that's really awesome. Um, I have a serious question for you. Not that the other ones weren't
Okay.
serious, but I got kind of a serious question for you. It has to do with what has been transpiring in our nation especially over the last few weeks.
Right.
And I wanted to know, would you mind giving us your views or feelings as an African American male, a father or a husband living in the United States?
Okay. Well, it's one of those things of where um maybe I don't know how other races, do this, but I know for myself when I was a kid, I remember learning how to drive. People, I guess when you learn how to drive, your who's ever teaching you, they're, showing you what to do and everything. But for myself and other African Americans, after you do that, the lesson is, what do you do if you get pulled over?
Yeah.
This a serious conversation that that we all have to go through. And I remember being in middle school or somewhere when the Rodney King beating happened, and ever since then, it's like every time that I was with somebody that got pulled over or I got pulled over, it's like those thoughts are the things that come into my head first. Like, okay, what's going to happen? Is my life literally in danger? What is this cop going to do? But outside of that, um there are some things that that are going on that I really do agree with. I'm not going to say that I agree with the looting and stuff like that, but people do have the right to be they have the right to be angry,
Yes.
and people are going to manifest that different ways. Some people are just going to march, some people are going to do other things. We can't really just tell somebody this is how you be angry. So that's not my place to say. But
Mhm.
with the killing that just happened, it's just like the other ones that just happened, but it's like this one in particular, it was like the it was like the boiling point. We just can't take it anymore. We have to do something.
Yeah.
From Rodney King to the thing in Ferguson, all
Mike
these
Brown. Yeah.
yes, all these things
Hmm.
that's constantly happening, and nothing really been done about it. For as far as the justice system,
Hmm.
okay, they get charged, okay, but now are you going to convict them when you have like clear evidence that something happened? That was a crime committed, but nothing gets done,
Yeah.
and we're just tired of it. And people want to see change. We're tired of politicians saying, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to make this ordinance. We're tired of that, because every time that happens, this happens again. Yes, black lives do matter, and I know people say, well, all lives matter. That's true. I heard somebody say, just imagine that, imagine there's a mother, at her son's funeral, and she's talking about how important her son's life was to her, and how special it was. And then
Hmm.
all of a sudden somebody walks in the funeral and says, well, all lives matter. We know all lives matter, but this particular situation is what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
So we need to change within all of us. We need to make changes within ourselves. But as far as the system, we want something better that's going to benefit us. um um all the way back to slavery, when the Revolutionary War came, the colonists were free, but we weren't.
Hmm.
Civil War came, you know the North won that war, say slaves were set free, but then comes Jim Crow. We get to vote, but then you got people threatening to kill us if we try to do that.
Yeah.
Just all this stuff. That's It's like, regardless of what strides we make, it's like that knee is still in our neck. As a race, it's like it's always there, and we're saying we can't breathe, and we're tired of that, and people are wanting to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Okay, so do you have any shout outs tonight before you do your final selection?
I'd like to shout out my wife Vicky.
That's right. Don't
Um,
get in trouble, right?
right,
Right?
don't get in trouble. No, she's also a great piano player also.
Oh, okay.
My son Joshua, he plays piano and trumpet, And my daughter Ariel, who's just started band this year,
Oh wow.
she plays alto sax, and she also has been playing violin for about 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and my parents, my sister and brother, they both play instruments and all that stuff. My sister's a great singer. She's based out there in LA.
Oh
But
wow.
but just thank you all for all my friends that have tuned in and all that stuff.
Okay.
So
So what is going to be your final selection tonight?
my final selection, hold on here, because I just had it and it just went away. By the way, my most recent project was
Mm-hmm.
called it's called Power Instrumental Praise and Worship, and it's a collection of this popular praise and worship songs, as well as some original ones. And the first one is called New Perspective. This
Okay.
song right here is called Holy Medley, and it's just a medley of several songs that talk about the holiness of God.
Okay.
And here we go. Holy Medley.
Thank you so much, Cameron. Oh my goodness, that was beautiful. What was the name of that song again? Cameron? What was the name of that song again?
It's called Holy Medley.
All right, Holy Medley. Cameron, thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. I actually put up CameronRossMusic.com so people can click on there to find out more about your music and if they want to purchase or find out where it is and find out your tours and what's going on in the future. Want to thank you for hanging out with me on Friday night. Best wishes on graduate school.
Thank
oh
you.
my goodness, I'll be definitely praying for you. That is no joke. And best wishes for you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, you have a great evening and take care. I'm gonna call you again to do this again. You know that, don't you?
Most definitely. I'm ready for it.
All right. Take care, Cameron.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Cameron Ross. Did you all enjoy that? Cameron Ross, awesome saxophonist. He's been saxophoning. Well, he's been a saxophone player for many, many years. My daughter's laughing at me. That's okay. All right. So let's see. Let me tell you about Leslie Lee. Elder Leslie Lee won a $15 Walmart gift card last week, and she paid it forward. She said, give it this week. So thank you, Leslie. You have a big red star because I'm going to be giving a $15 gift card right now. Who is our winner, Cheryl? Drum roll, drum roll.
Mr. Cameron Ross.
Cameron Ross won?
No, hold on.
No, he can't win.
Hold on. Hold on. Cameron Barnes.
Cameron Barnes. Yay! Cameron. Cameron was on last week. Minister Cameron Barnes won this $15 Walmart gift card. You know what? Cameron just graduated class of 2020. I think he's a business major. He just got his degree. So I'm sure he can use a couple of bucks, a little bit of change, a little bit of spare change. So Cameron Barnes, congratulations. You are the winner. All right. Let's keep it going, Cheryl. So now we're going to introduce our business spotlight of the evening. Our business spotlight is Charlene Blair. She is the founder and executive director of the National Museum of African Americans on Stamps, also known as NEMAS, abbreviated NMAAS, which was founded in 2017. This is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. She has won 4 bronze ribbons in stamp show competitions under the stamp exhibits at the St. Louis Stamp Show Bronze Ribbon Award. She won a tribute to Black Heritage Stamps in 2008, African Americans in Music and on Stamps 2013, and a tribute to Marian Anderson 2017. She also won with the American Philatelic Society Show Bronze Ribbon Award, again a tribute to the Marian Anderson in 2017. Please welcome to Friday Night Live, my friend Charlene Blair.
Catherine, hi, how are you?
Fine, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Oh, I am so excited to have you on the show tonight. I know this is going to be really, really, really awesome. So I was telling them that some of your achievements some of the awards that you won by doing collecting stamps. And I'm just curious, how long have you been a stamp collector?
Oh, Catherine, well, first, just let me thank you for inviting me to be a guest. I really appreciate it. I'm just so proud of you first as a friend for curating this Friday Night Live. And I wish you much success.
Thank you.
And definitely will stay in support.
Thank you.
I've been a stamp collector almost 30 years now, since 1991.
But I thought you was like 30. 35.
I
Okay,
know.
we'll talk later. Okay.
I was thumbing through Jet magazine. You remember the Jet magazine, the little,
Yes.
and they were talking about the next Black Heritage Series stamp coming out. I think it was W.B. Du Bois.
Okay.
For some reason, a light bulb just went on in my head. Like, there are actually African Americans on stamps. So I went to the library, not to the library, to the post office, and asked for all 14 of the stamps. I took the Jet magazine, I said I want the 14 stamps, and then I can get that one stamp, but now I had to go to stamp shows or stamp dealers to get the other stamps. So that started my quest on collecting.
Okay. All right. So what is the main focus or mission of NEMAS?
Okay. I started, as a NEMAS as a way to really start sharing my own personal stamp collection.
So it was like a hobby at first?
Yeah, it was
kinda?
a hobby,
Okay.
and I was just sharing my own personal collection. And then as it progressed and was getting, more questions about the collection itself and what I'm doing, I decided to start a nonprofit 501c3 to encourage other African Americans to collect and at least to buy the stamps, because the post office puts out about 55 stamps a year, and of those, about 3 of them are centered around African Americans. One in February for the Black Heritage Series, another one that's not in the series that may be an African American like Marvin Gaye or Ray Charles. And then we usually get something around the holiday season, one of the Kwanzaa stamps.
Okay. So why do you think this is something that's important that we should do? Or why do you think it's important to collect our stamps of the African Americans?
Well, one of the vision for NEMAS basically is to be a space that shares philatelic collections that shape conversations about past, present, and future. And our mission is basically to introduce African Americans to stamps through social media, our pop-up exhibits that we do and displays, as well as to be a catalyst, for conversations, mutual respect, support, inclusion, to be a pipeline for minorities in the museum field. We know that's an area where we aren't well represented. I think about 4% of African Americans work in the museum field. And that's why I'm so proud to see Spelman. They started a curatorial studies program there. And I've connected with them and have, donated to that cause because I like to see more individuals there. And this one young lady who just graduated in 2020, she went on to get her doctorate in African American studies.
Oh, wow.
Me watching her, definitely, made a donation in her honor. And
do you know her name offhand?
I can have it on my Facebook page. I'll be sure.
Okay.
I know. Okay. And then we also just, kind of encourage the kids by giving, providing stamp kits for kids, just little games that they can play, or just kids games. And as you see now, they have a lot of stamps out there for kids with like Hot Wheels, Scooby-Doo, just things that they might be interested in, and really ready for the heavier topic, of Black history. Okay.
So I know you have I'm really interested to see what some of the examples that you have, and I know you have a little presentation that you want to show us. And I want to remind you guys to make sure you pay attention, because Charlene has something special to give away today. So pay attention. So I'm going to leave it up to you, so you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay.
Okay, I see you.
Yay. So as you said, what NEMAS stands for, National Museum of African Americans on Stamps. And so I'm hoping that people can recognize that name when they see it, or definitely see those letters and see this stamp, that is our logo. And as you mentioned before, that I won bronze ribbons with show exhibits. To the left is how a single frame exhibit looks. It's 16 pages and it tells a story of an individual or a particular topic. Now, I have been specializing in a single frame, but there are people who may do 6 to 10 frames on their particular topic. If they've been collecting a long time, they've acquired a lot of material, I probably could do 10 frames on the Black heritage. But right now, I'm focusing on single frame. And so to the right would be more like a display when we go and do pop-up exhibits at conferences or workshops or expos. We put up a single table, or we may put up at the library, we put up like 8 tables, and it's full of philatelic material. Just giving you just a quick background on the history of stamps. The first U.S. stamp was actually issued in July 1847. George Washington and Ben Franklin were the first individuals on stamps. And then the first woman was in 1893. Now I'm showing you this to show you the perspective on when we actually came on the scene as African Americans. It was almost 100 years later, with Booker T. Washington coming on the stamp April 7th, 1940. He was the first African American on a U.S. stamp, and he was part of the Famous Americans series. And the thing about stamps, each stamp has a Scott number, they call it. It's either a 3-digit or 4-digit number. So every stamp can be found that way if a person does not know if you go to a stamp show and you just ask for Booker T. Washington, the stamp dealer may not be able to find them. But if you say Scott number 873, they can find them. As I said, Booker T. Washington came on the scene in 1940, I'm sorry. But as you can see, African Americans really weren't prominent yet on stamps. We had related items. We did 1940, and then we basically didn't come on the scene again until 1948 with George Washington Carver. And then they backtracked in 1956 to do the centennial of Booker T. Washington. And then it took a while for people to campaign to say that they want to see African Americans on stamps. And the whole idea for the series was born in New York when Clarence Irving, who was the chairman and founder of the Black American Heritage Foundation, appealed to the post office to make this happen. So finally in 1978, the Black Heritage series, which the post office initiated, we are the longest running commemorative stamp series in the U.S. history that the post office has issued. Of course, then the first woman to appear on a stamp appeared in this series, and that was with Harriet Tubman. And then as you can see, the next one, the first 5 I have listed here: Martin Luther King, Benjamin Banneker, Whitney Young, Jackie Robinson, Scott Joplin. So these are a few of the individuals that kick off these series. There are now 42 stamps in the Black Heritage series, the most recent one being Gwen Eiffel, that is at the post office right now. As you see, the stamps that I showed before were in color. For a while, the post office decided to try to switch it up. And in '96, they came up with this design using monochromatic photograph type design elements. It lasted for a while, but people kind of complained, and they decided to go back to using the colors. Now, when I said that the Black Heritage series has 42 stamps in it, but there are other stamps that are African Americans that are on stamps that are not part of the series. And you can see, like, this is an example of these particular stamps. If a stamp is in the series, it has the word Black Heritage somewhere on the stamp. African American related stamps, you see we're somewhere in the background on the stamp. So these are ones that I am still finding and adding to my collection because they don't, have the name or have anything that I particularly would immediately know that they are African American related. So I've acquired a lot of those. So when I do exhibits, like when I first started doing the pop-up exhibits, people thought, they would just come and look at stamps laid out on the table. But our purpose is we are a pop-up exhibit or a museum. So I incorporate other philatelic items to include in those exhibits. So you have the frame stamp art, you have like CDs, first day covers, coasters, anything like that has to do with a stamp. I usually collect and add to it. The greeting cards up here actually are African American Center greeting cards, and they all have a stamp in it. That was something that this post office issued, but they haven't issued that in a while. Postcards, other pieces that you can add are cards like this at the bottom with the vintage Black cinema, long envelopes or frame cards and things of that nature. Of course, magazines, anything. This U.S. Philatelic magazine is free. You can order it online, but whenever there's an individual, African-American individual on a cover, of course, I keep it or get a couple of them so that I can then use those in exhibits. Then you have the commemorative panels. I'm really enjoying the way the post office has been putting these together because they make good displays as well. They're like 8.5 by 11, I think. And these are some posters that were issued years ago by the post office, 4 of them that are, of course, are no longer available. Just really nice extra to my collection. And just being a basic, these are some of the basic tools that you would use as a collector. Now, a lot of the like diehard collectors, have the binders and the stock pages, and they put all their stamps in there, and then they have them neatly up on a shelf or a bookcase. And I started off like that, but then I thought, well, what good is it being here, without it being seen? There's no reason for it not to be seen. So at this point,
wow. Was that Maya Angelou?
Maya Angelou is on a stamp. That's her there at the bottom of the stamp. So do you want to a little precursor to what might be happening with that?
Yeah. Okay. So tell us what we're going to do for our viewers.
Well, just to thank everyone for joining in today. This actually is an 11 by 17 poster of Maya Angelou. It was made for me by Clarence McKnight, who is an avid stamp collector too, but he donated the print to NEMAS so that we can use it for giveaways or as a fundraiser. And so tonight, to thank everyone for joining in, or just as a gift from NEMAS, we're offering, or we'll email you this print, the first 10 people that respond.
So they need to respond to stampkeeper@yahoo.com, right, Charlene?
Yes, that's it, stampkeeper@yahoo.com.
Okay, and I have it at the bottom of the screen. So the first 10 people that email and express that they would like to have a copy of Maya Angelou, they're going to get an email print. It's going to be, they can actually frame it. How big is it again? It's
11 by 17.
Really nice.
Yes, and 11 by 17.
Okay, and then also Charlene is her business is a 501c3. So if anybody would be interested in possibly giving a donation to the cause, this is really interesting. Thank you, Charlene. Here's her information, and we can put that in the comments too as well. So if anybody's interested in donating to this cause, I think this got me a little history. I was really paying attention, learning some stuff that I did not know. I did not know, like, when the first stamp was developed. I did not know when the African-American stamps, what years. I mean, that was really interesting how, so I'm gonna go back and look at it again, and then I'm gonna quiz my daughter and see if she's been paying attention.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay. All right, so do you have any shout outs, Charlene, that you want to give to anybody?
Well, Catherine, you can't do anything by yourself, especially you have your Carter, they're helping you. And when I decided to start NEMAS, of course, you know, I have to shout out John and Carmen Cunningham. I was just talking about this vision that I have and what I wanted to do. And, you know, to be a 501c3, I'm going to need some extra names on some paperwork, you know, and like that. And I appreciate them trusting me to do what I need to do to keep this organization viable, to keep it legal, and to keep it straight. And then when I'm doing the pop-up exhibits, of course, I have volunteers that come and help set up and help stay there, because, you know, as you're hosting, you're talking to people and you're not able to look at everything or talk to everybody. So, of course, my son, Robert Hardy, Deborah Pitts, Esau Tolson, Amelia Williams, Bonnie Wilson, Tina Wilson. And it's a job itself, keeping just the Facebook page going. The process of building out the YouTube page, as well as, you know, doing chats like this now. So we've been guests on a couple other chats. So we're just enjoying getting the name out there more and getting more invitations to participate in a lot of different ways.
Do you have any events coming up soon? I know we're under the kind of like the
coronavirus. No.
Yeah.
We were really planning and really have to look for a new date. On April 18th, we were planning to bring in the Black History Mobile Museum, Black History 101 Mobile Museum. And he does African American artifacts. And so we were going to host him at the Edwardsville Library as a partnership. And so that's one event that we're looking forward to getting back on the books. In my mind, I'm thinking if October is Diversity and Inclusion Day at SIU, and we've participated in that for 3 years. So not sure, you know, how things will be by then, but right at the moment, that's the only thing I can think of, that we will probably have another exhibit out physically. So that's why we're really working hard to maintain a presence online and to keep our Facebook page going.
Okay. One more serious question. You know, like with what's transpired over the last couple of weeks and what's been going on in our nation, and, you know, it's been some really tough things happening. As an African American woman, can you share your views, like what it's been for you? This has been really difficult for me. I've been having so many emotions about everything. I've really been having a really hard time with it. Can you share your views or your feelings on what's been going on and how it is as you see it?
Well, Kath, I am the mother of a 31-year-old son. And of course, you hurt when other mothers hurt, and especially in the ways that things have happened.
Right.
Inspired. And I remember that week when this happened, my son, you know, got stopped just right here where we live in the city where we're at by a policeman who said he was speeding. And my son immediately called me to let me know where he was and that he had got stopped. And I just felt like his voice sounded differently. So I know it's affecting them in some kind of way. Yeah. But at the same time, it affected me because I immediately got nervous and, back start kind of aching, like, okay, if he doesn't call me back by a certain time, I'm going to drive around there and see what's going on. So of course it's going to affect all of us like that. And so from a NEMA's perspective, and I like what Cameron was saying, everybody supports or represents in their own way. Everybody may not be out on this, foot soldiers per se. And I mean, I grew up in the 60s. I know I'm older than you we think. And honestly, and I remember a lot of the things that happened. So for me, and with NEMA's, my way is to find ways to encourage our people, to let them know who we are, where we came from, that we are strong people, that we can make it through some things. And I read an article recently that said how libraries and museums are the depository for all kinds of information, history. That will the same mask that we see now people wearing. I found an old picture from 1920 where women had on masks.
Wow.
So we know that probably in 50, 60, 70, 80 years, the people walking around now will be in the archives.gov files showing that these masks. So we say there's nothing new under the sun, perhaps, but the way we react to it and the way we deal with it changes. And we hope that each time that things happen that we get it right, or we do it better than last time, that we learn some lessons from that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, that's one of the goals and one of the missions, like I said, for NEMA, is to be a catalyst for conversation, to be a representative of who we are and who our people, our generations, and where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Charlene. I really this was really, 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 there was a lot of information, very informative. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that did not know some of the facts that you showed us when you did the presentation. Thank you so much for sharing your hobby and now your, what is it now? I want to say love, because your love for the stamps, but
passion,
your passion.
Ministry.
Thank you. Yeah,
because you find yourself, you open up the conversation with something basic, and that can extend over to so much. So making people feel comfortable to open up and at least ask questions is big, and you never know the impact that you're having on people when that happens.
Right, I agree. Well, thank you so much, Charlene. I know there was other things you could have been doing on a Friday night at 7 o'clock, and I just really appreciate you taking your time out and hanging out with me for a little while.
You're welcome, and I appreciate you being invited. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, take care, Charlene, and best wishes in your business.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, did you all enjoy that? That was a nice history lesson. Are you ready for your test? I have questions. No, I'm just kidding. But that was really, 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 really informative. And we need to know those facts about our history. That's one of the things as African Americans, we don't know our history. We don't know enough. And so I really thank Charlene for kind of breaking it down for us a little bit, giving us a little summary, something, to learn. You can always learn. You're never too old where you can not learn, right? So I just thank Charlene for that short history lesson. That was really good. All right. So she's looking for the first 10 people to email her. Cheryl, will you put her email address up there again? First 10 people to email her at this address, stampkeeper@yahoo. You're going to get a print of Maya Angelou. All right, Cheryl. So what's going on next? Let's see. So so we got a winner for the gift card. There was Cameron Barnes. Congratulations, Cameron Barnes. Let's give our accolades out on the show. So we definitely want to thank saxophonist Cameron Ross. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you so much, Cameron, for hanging out with us today and sharing your music ministry with us. And we also want to send a special thank you to Charlene Blair of the National Museum of African Americans on Stamps, NEMAS. Thank you so much, Charlene. And don't forget, next week is Father's Day weekend. So what we're going to do for Friday Night Live, which is the Friday before Father's Day, we're going to be giving out shout outs. So there is a link on Facebook. If you have a special shout out to the special men in your life, that are fathers, they can be still living or in heaven. Make sure you leave their name in the comments so I can get that together and ready for next week. We're also going to have one of the artists that was on my very first show, Kevin Lamont, will be back in the house. He's going to be hanging out with us for our Father's Day, and we will be giving away giveaways specifically for fathers. T-shirts. We have some beautiful T-shirts that are going to be coming. Ties. Let me see. I think I got one that came in. I have. Ooh, what's this? Here's one of the giveaways. Woo! Oh, wait. Here it is. Woo! So we're going to have some giveaways. That's next Friday. So make sure you tune in to win those. What else? Oh, Cheryl shout-outs. Let's do some Cheryl shout-outs. I know we got some awesome people hanging out with us today. Who do we have, Cheryl?
Let's see who we got up here on the Facebook.
Okay.
Let's see. I know I saw me some Auntie Ada. Hey, Auntie Ada.
Could you put me back on the screen, please?
You want to be out on the screen?
Yes.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you. Auntie Ada. Hi, Auntie Ada. Auntie Mamie. Hi, Auntie Mamie.
And we got Sheila Bowen.
Hey,
Auntie
Sheila.
Karen.
Hey, Karen.
We got Missy Sanders.
Hey, Auntie Mamie.
Auntie Mamie, she wanted to bring me some cool milk.
Mr. Esau Tolson.
Hey, Esau. We have Miss Deborah.
Sister Pitts. Hey, Sister Deb.
We got Cameron Barnes. Congratulations again.
Hey, Cameron. Congratulations.
Auntie
Carmen.
Ada. You got Miss Carmen.
Hey, Carmen.
Lady Jackson.
Lady Jackson. Hey, Lady Jackson.
You got Miss Tina.
Tina Wilson. Hey, Tina.
Pauline.
Hey, Pauline. Thanks for tuning in.
And I think that might be it. Yeah.
Did we get everybody?
I think we did.
We did? Yeah. Okay, we finished. Okay, so we finished late last week, so we finished 2 minutes early this week. All right, so you guys have a safe weekend, and I will see you next week. All right, have a great one. Love you guys, and thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.